church. But then he left. He moved to another city, to um, another state, and we kind of lost contact, right? So for years and years we haven't spoken. And one day, um, out of the blue, he called me. I didn't, but he left a voicemail. He said, "Hey, when you have a chance, call me." Then he sent me a text and said, "Hey, this is your friend. Call me back when you have a chance." Now, during that time, I don't know if you remember, a few months ago, I told you that several things that happened in our family that put us in a situation. My wife lost her job. My son got in a crash accident for the seventh time. Not his fault. It's never been his fault, right? It's always somebody else's fault. Abby was attacked in school by some girls. We lost our bridge at home. So there were a bunch of things. We were without health insurance, and all this little thing. So this is when my friend called me, and we talked for a few moments, and we talked about what he's doing, the weather and stuff like that. He says, "Look, I didn't call you to waste your time. You always get a little hesitant when somebody tells you that. Like, I didn't call you to waste your time." But he said, "What do you need right now?" He doesn't know anything about anything, right? He doesn't know. We haven't spoken in years. And you know me, I don't publish my stuff on social media, right? So you know that, like, or whatever. I'm not. I'm not saying it's bad if you do it, or I'm just saying I don't do it. Anyways, he didn't know anything about that, so he called me and he's like, "Hey, what do you need?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Yeah, do you have any particular that I can help you with?" And it's a hard question. And somebody asks you, "What do you need?" Especially when you have a lot of things that you need, right? I'm like, "Well, I really don't know. We're doing okay. There are a few things, but God is going to take care of us." And he's like, "Look, let me be straightforward with you." He says, um, "I got extra money," he says, "and my wife and I have prayed about who should send it. And you and Fabiola were the first people that came to our mind." And he said, "It's funny because we haven't talked in years, but um, and then he said to me, he said, how much extra money do you need right now?" Like, he still doesn't know anything about what's going on, right? I'm like, it's a lot of money that I need right now. And look, he said to me, "I don't promise you that I'm going to give you everything that you want, but I think I can help you with some of those things." He never thought that what I needed at the moment was 6 months of my wife's salary, a new car, a new fridge, health insurance, and a lot of other things, new shoes, a new iPhone. $1 million, yeah. I was tempted to say something like that, um, but he was just saying, "What is it that you need at this moment?" And I'm pretty sure I can provide it. Um, wow, that's an interesting question. What would you say if somebody comes to you and asks you something similar? Right at this moment, somebody says to you, "Hey, what you need, so I can provide it for you." What would be your answer? What things would you include in a vision of a better life for you? So what would you say if something, like, you have an idea of what a better life will be for you? Well, for my life to be better, I really need this or this or this or that. What kind of things would you include in a vision for your better life? What would be the ideal world, the ideal church, the ideal pastor? Mike and I are enough a better pastor. A better pastor. No. What is the ideal church community? Well, go a little bit beyond that. What is the perfect world that you envision? Somebody comes to you, "What do we need to make this world perfect?" What kind of things would you say to somebody like that? What is the better version of humanity you and I can dream of? What is that version? Because humanity as it is today is not the best version of it, right? But what would the best version of humanity that you and I can dream of? Now, you know that we are in Advent season, so this is our second week of Advent. Today is the week of peace. Last week we started with hope. Today is peace. Next week is going to be joy, and then the following week is going to be love. But during the Advent season, the church recreates again, remembers a world that was in utter darkness, total darkness before the coming of the Messiah. We anticipate the coming of the Messiah. So Advent season is this in between, this moment when the church remembers again, re in the blessing of the memory, how a world without Jesus looks like, and how much anticipation in the heart of people there is for the coming of somebody that is going to end all the evils of this world. Now, I want you to go to Isaiah chapter 11. This is where we're going to be um, in the Word today. Isaiah chapter 11. And I am going to read these verses slowly. I want you to pay attention to them. We don't have a lot of time, but we will spend the next few moments just thinking about these verses right here. Isaiah chapter 11, verses 1 through 9. We read them before at the beginning of the service, so it will just be a reminder of what we already read. It says, "A shoot will come up from the stump of Jesse, from the roots a branch will bear fruit. The Spirit of the Lord will rest on him, the Spirit of wisdom and of understanding, the Spirit of counsel and of might, the Spirit of knowledge and fear of the Lord, and he will delight in the fear of the Lord. He will not judge by what he sees with his eyes or decides, but by what he hears with his ears. But with righteousness he will judge the needy. With justice he will give decisions for the poor of the earth. He will strike the earth with the rod of his mouth. With the breath of his lips he will slay the wicked. Righteousness will be his belt, and faithfulness the sash around his waist. The wolf will live with the lamb, the leopard will lie down with the goat, the calf and the lion and the yearling together, and a little child will lead them. The cow will feed with the bear together. Their young will lie down together, and the lion will eat straw like the ox. He will become vegan, vegetarian, or something like that. The infant will play near the cobra's den, and the young child will put his feet into the viper's nest. They will neither harm nor destroy on all my holy mountain, for the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the Lord as the waters cover the sea." What is a purpose? What do I need in my purpose? Now, this is the vision of human flourishing according to God. Like, if you ever thought, how does it look when humans flourish together with one another, and with the creation, when they grow together, they thrive together? How does it look when things are restored and in order? How does when my life is okay before us and before the Lord? How does it look when creation is being restored? Well, this is the vision of human flourishing from God. This is God's vision for humanity. It's an amazing vision, isn't it? Let me tell you what it includes. In verses 1 through 5, see that it includes a government with a governor. In the old times, we'll say a kingdom with a king. But for us to understand this vision of human flourishing, human prosperity, is a government with a new governor, a just governor. Verses 1 through 5 talks about this governor who's, the Spirit of the Lord is upon him. He's wise, he is just, he is good, he is compassionate. It's a new government, but it also needs a new governor. This vision of human flourishing, if you read the verses, says there is no discrimination among people, because the king, the governor, doesn't discriminate. He doesn't judge people by what he sees in them or what he hears about it. The discrimination basically is looking to you and making a judgment in relation to how you look. Like, I don't like your skin color, or I don't like your clothing, or I don't like anything. And so there is discrimination because of the things I see. It says he will not discriminate. He will not judge people by what he sees. There'll be no inequality, no favoritism, no injustice. A perfect world. In verse 5, he says that it says that or in verse 5, it says, righteousness will be his belt and faithfulness the sash around his waist. He is of a perfect and superior character. There is no corruption in him. There is no lies in him. He's a perfect governor. Now I wish our politicians were like that, right? They're not. Left, right, center, no matter where they are, they're all corrupt in some way. Somebody said, once that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely, or something like that, and that is true. But this vision of the human flourishing, thank you very much, and his king or his governor with a character of righteousness and faith. He's not like the other kings, like the other governors. Now in verse 6 through 8, you see that there is the advancement of peace and the absence of conflict, even in those things that are natural. This is an allegory. It's an image that projects something that is happening. Lions and lambs don't lie down together to eat grass. That's not how the world functions. So this is an image of perfect peace, perfect unity, perfect communion. All things have been restored. Is the end of violence. Verse chapter 9. He says, no one in my mountain, nobody is going to harm others. It says they will neither harm nor destroy on all my holy mountain. In a place like in a world such as we live today, this is such a strange concept. No harm will be done. Last week, another shooting. The week before, shooting. The week before that, and shooting. So every week, almost every day, there is violence in the land. And this vision of human flourishing from God says there will be an end to violence. Wouldn't you like that? Even if you're not Christian, even if you're not a committed Christian, you have to accept that this is a better life than the one we have today, isn't it? It's a better vision of humanity. It's a better version of the world. Even if you don't believe in God, even if you don't believe in Christ, this is a better version of the world. There's a problem with this version of the world, and the problem is that this human flourishing, it's impossible to obtain. This human flourishing, this human prosperity, this human thriving is impossible for us to obtain. There is no political power, there is no military power, there is no economy that can sustain or even create this kind of peace. The world has tried forever. We've tried. Kings and peoples have tried to obtain peace. It has never come. There is no religious system, there is no educational system, there is no moral system that can bring about a version like this of human story. It's none. It's impossible. Like somebody said once, I believe somebody said, we will achieve world peace even if we have to kill everyone. Interesting, right? We will achieve world peace even if in the process we have to kill everyone. Because in this world, in the system of this world, peace can only be obtained through violence. Think about this for a moment. Think about how in the world in which we all live, peace can only be accomplished through violence. For somebody to have peace, somebody else have to suffer violence. Right? For some people to be rich, some people have to be poor. For us to buy very cheap things, somebody in other parts of the world have to work 12, 14, 16 hours a day for a couple of dollars. So as we enjoy some sort of prosperity, sort of flourishing, other people are suffering violence because of it. The world cannot accomplish peace but only through violence. But you may not have to even think about the world. It's such a big problem to think about. But what if you think about your life? Think about your own life, your personal life, and the internal conflicts that you experience. And tell me if you have been able to accomplish. Have you tried? Yes, of course you've tried many things. You've done that. You've tried one thing and tried the other. What about the lack of justice in our own life? What about the lack of love and compassion? What about our desire for violence? We have those things, don't we? I mean, we can't deny. We need to be honest about ourselves and about our own lives, and we have to admit that we all struggle with finding peace because we all try to obtain peace through violence. Such when I say violence, I don't mean by harming other people necessarily, but that could be a witness. We seek communion in the wrong places, we seek love in the wrong places, we end up hurting people. How many times have we desired a new beginning for our life? How many times have you made a promise again to yourself or to God or to somebody, say, I'm going to start all over again, and this time I'm going to do it like how many times? How many times have you longed for a day when you would have to worry about your mistakes, the ones that you commit over and over and over again, and you long for the day and you say, one day I don't want to be dealing with this kind of life. I want to get rid of these mistakes. I want to get rid of these habits. I want to get rid of these sins. Yet we go back to the same place. Yeah. It's impossible. It's impossible to obtain even our own vision of I am not the person I want. I am not. You are not the person who would like to. You are. And we long. And so the lack of a solution for this peace, be interior, personal, or in our homes or in our world, the lack of a solution is the greatest fail of humanity. We've looked for it everywhere. We've walked all the paths. We've tried all the ways to solve this problem, and we only come back to the same again. Now, maybe the question that you need to ask at this point is, am I thinking the right way? Is my version of flourishing the version of God, God's version? I think that's a question that we ask ourselves. Am I being dissatisfied with my life? Am I struggling with my life in areas? Maybe because I'm not looking in the right. This is the second week of Advent, and in the second week we anticipate the peace that God will bring to the world. Jesus said in the Gospel of John, chapter 14, he says, "My peace I give you. My peace I give you. Not like the world offers it to you, but my peace." See, he's got a different version of what it looked like. If he weren't so, he would have not said it like that. But he's very specific when he says, "I give you my peace," not like unlike not like the peace the world offers you. So he makes a distinction between something that he offers, a vision of human flourishing, against the vision of human flourishing from the world. He says, "I give you mine." And as I've been speaking, on the past few weeks, this peace comes when we lament in a Christian way about the things that are wrong with this world. This is what Advent is all about. It's lamenting that things are not okay, but anticipating that things will be okay. And as we lament, and as we cry out to the Lord, we start putting our confidence in Him once again. In the same gospel, Jesus says, you will cry and you will lament, but even when you are sad, your sadness will become, because I am going to the Father. He's taking again, he's becoming the governor of all things. He's saying, you will cry and you will lament, but you will be. It's interesting how the world keeps coming to the same idea that the same vision of human flourishing that always benefits only certain. It breaks all this. I heard a man a few days ago, where I read something the man said a few days before. He was saying something like this. He said that capitalism is the greatest thing that has happened to the world along with the gospel. Capitalism, along with the gospel of Jesus Christ, is the best thing that has happened to the world. And here in the United States, we have married them both. I thought, what's the word I'm looking for? My help me with the word. Crush, aberración, aberration, the aberration, like the one in heaven. What a horrible idea that you can marry the gospel with capitalism to create a version of human flourishing for the sake of who? For the benefit of what? For the benefit of who? For the sake of what would you marry the gospel else? So it becomes a different version of human flourishing. You can look around. You can look around our society. You can look around our country, and you can see the effects of marrying the gospel with anything, either capitalism or anything else. You see the deformed ideas that come out of these things, the deformed theologies that come out of these things. So then what do? If God presents us with a vision of human flourishing that we cannot achieve, why would He give us that in the first place? And why would He invite us to that if we cannot accomplish it? This is the truth. We have been at war from the very beginning. We have been in conflict from the very beginning. From the moment that God put us in the garden, it only took, I don't know the times, but it seems to me that it took very little time for Adam and Eve to break away from God, right? To pursue their own vision of human flourishing and to be separated from Him and be separated from one another and be separated from creation. And now from the beginning, we have followed the same pattern. We have broken up with God. We have broken up with one another. We have broken up with creation. And then we attempt to go back to it. There is always this brokenness that is seeking for peace and restoration on our own terms. It's impossible to achieve. It's impossible to come. Therefore, it had to be God Himself, the creator of all things, the initiator of all things, the restorer of all things. It's got to be Him who came after lamenting for human. Think about this. Every time there is a major story in the Bible, you see God lamenting for human beings. You see, in Genesis 3 and 4 and 5, God is lamenting for humans. Like, Adam, what have you done? Where are you? What happened to the you? And God pours out His heart in suffering for human beings. God suffered. Not like them. And then in the times of Noah, God is lamenting, and He's even saying, there is so much sorrow in his being for human beings. It doesn't mean that He hates them. It doesn't mean that He doesn't want them. It doesn't mean that He repents, like we understand. Oh, He repented from creating that. It doesn't mean that He is hurting in His being, in the heart of His heart, because we are not what He made us. So himself, he himself had to come to be the Prince of Peace. Jesus, who is the Shalom of God made flesh, who is the same vision of God, the perfect vision of God for a perfect human being, came in the flesh, came as a baby, just so we know that God is not afraid of being. He came to us in the most vulnerable way, among the most vulnerable people, in the most vulnerable of the circumstances, to save the most vulnerable of us, to give us this vision of a new hope, a new idea of what it means to be humans, because Christ did not come into the world to make us divine. He came into the world to make us human. To be more like Christ is to be more human. To love Christ is to love more like a human being. He is the perfect human being. He is the perfect God in the flesh. So to follow Christ restores in us humanity. To follow Christ restores humanity. When you follow Christ, the question is not how much of God can there be in me, but how much human can I really? How much my life can be in agreement with the vision of God for human. So in verses 1 and 2, we see that God's vision for human prosperity comes in the flesh. It says, Son of David will be born. Bring to a person. Christ is the vision of human flourishing. He is what it means to thrive as a human being. He embodies this vision of God for the world. And so the question at this point again is, do you want to follow him? Do you want to? Today was never, do you want to accept Jesus Christ in the heart of the person Savior? That personal religion, that intimate, private religion. It's not quiet what Jesus said before he said, follow me. The gospel is follow Christ today, tomorrow, the next day, die. If you follow him, you follow him in the position of the word. How could you not love your neighbor when you follow him? How could you not stop discriminating when you follow him? How could you not call out injustice when you follow him? How could you not share your bread with the homeless when you follow Jesus? How could you not respect women and children in life, the unborn and the born, both at the same time? How could you not do those things when you follow Jesus? How could you not pursue a righteous and pure life, a controlled life when you follow Jesus? Could you not when you're following him? The question is never, do you want to accept him in your heart? The question is always, do you want to follow him? Real question. What does that mean for us about how do we participate in God's peace, in the vision of human flourishing? Although the first thing that we must respond to is what I just said. And I would just say it again, because if I learn something, is that the only thing I can plea for people to do is for this, to follow Christ. So let me say it again. If you're not following Jesus, and I'm not talking about your salvation, if you're not following Jesus, then the first thing you gotta do is follow. Surrender everything, put everything aside, and follow. And the second one is very similar. We can participate in this vision of God for human flourishing. What does it mean? Just as our peace begun in God's lament for a humanity that was lost. Also, our the peace of our neighbor with a with our own laments. As long as we don't suffer with the suffering, as long as we are not, um, picked up by injustice, as long as we care about those who are in need, we can just live a life, right? But if we want to experience the version of God for His word, then we must participate. Some people say to me sometimes, "Oh, Tony, I think that um, that you are good kids, you're not like, what are you? What?" And I said, "Look, if following Christ takes me to the right, I'll be from the right. If following Jesus takes me to the left, I'll be from the left. I don't care. If following Jesus takes me in the center, I'll be in the center. I really don't care about positions. All I want to do is to follow Christ. Human, God, always." So how do you participate in the vision of God for human prosperity? I'll give you an idea that something that happened this morning. This morning, the elders we got here to pray, and after we prayed, I presented to them the idea of creating something here that back. Um, it's just a basic idea to help people regain some dignity in their lives, particularly our so in the next few weeks and months, we're going to be building a new thing here that has power. We're going to put washer and dryer. We're going to talk to Vanessa and Mike about sort of basic health care for once a month. We're just gonna do to participate in God's vision of human flourishing. There will be an opportunity there for you to serve as a volunteer, as a supervisor, whatever God wants you to serve there. But that's gonna be the but in your own life, think about ways this week that you can participate in the things of God with yourself and also with children. Would you stand up and pray? And after that, Heavenly Father, we've sought peace in so many different places. We have tried to mend our brokenness in so many ways. Just but we've heard that your vision for our work doesn't involve anything else than to participate. So God, we decide today to walk. No one to walk away. Nothing for us to walk away. Anything that we could gain as we were singing is just the loss. It is literally trash. So God, turn our hearts. Help us to love one another and to love neighbors and strangers, anybody that comes. God, our King, by the resurrection of Jesus Christ, the day of comfort, sin, was dead, life, gave us the hope of one another. Redeem all our days by this gift of mercy. Make us bold to praise you and to do your will. Still us to wait for the last great day for the saints of God. May the peace of God be with you. We are dismissed. Please, we are so few. Give one another a hug, a kiss if it's holy. If it's not a holy kiss, do not kiss one another. But if it's holy, yes, we make it. God bless you all.